Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Casper Network, aka CSPR. So with that being said, I do want to address the biggest question that I get asked on this channel in this video, and that is why Casper is my number one holding. Out of all the other tokens, Casper is my number one holding simply because of the risk to reward ratio, but also because of how early we are on Casper. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that a lot of people are not aware of, which I will be addressing in this video. But also I do want to address the risk to reward ratio in terms of price action. So in one whole year, going all the way back to even May of 2022, we know that Casper has just been typically ranging around the 2.5 cent to roughly about like 4.5 cent zone. Yes, we've had peaks up to about 6 cents and even 5.5 cents, but I want you guys to understand that for the most part, I do feel confident accumulating this anywhere between 2.5 cents to 4 cents. And we could very well see much lower price action depending on if we get an unprecedented black swan event like we've seen in March of 2020. But the question is, do we get that? We have no idea, right? It's unprecedented. We don't know. But one thing that I will say about Casper is that we've had so long to accumulate this thing. 100,000 Casper right now is worth about less than roughly $4,000, which I know is not a small feat for most, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when you compare this to 100,000 XRP or, you know, any other token in the space, it's a little bit of a different story. Now, to me, I think that there's a lot of reward tied to Casper, especially at these levels, because as we look at the ICO pricing, you know, going all the way back to March of 2021, the initial ICO was 1.5 cents, 2 cents, and then 3 cents. And these were the ICO prices. And currently speaking, as we look at Casper, it's ranging right around that. We've already seen, you know, 2.5 cents being tested on Casper initially back in the summer of 2022, which if you guys were around during this time, yes, I was accumulating. I was making videos on why I was accumulating those levels and the significance behind them. But also as we look at Casper, right? So if we lose this level that we've been tagging a little bit at about roughly 3.5 cents, I do expect 3 cents to be tested. And if we do get 3 cents, it's going to be a huge area of opportunity, at least in my opinion, because I will be accumulating that 3 cent zone. I've talked about why 3 to 4 cents is an area that I just feel confident accumulating for the long term. Honestly, anything within this range down here. So let me grab the rectangle tool. Anything within this area down here, I feel very confident accumulating. Now, obviously, at around like the 3.5 to 4 cent zone, it's a little bit higher than this zone, but I just feel like long term, it's not really going to matter if you were buying at, you know, 4 cents or 3 cents. And the truth of the matter is that when we actually go into a bull run, what we will see is a lot of people looking back at these prices and saying, wow, I wish I would have bought more. And this happened a lot with many tokens. ADA, for an example, was one that a lot of people looked back on and said, wow, I wish I would have bought more. And the same goes for, you know, Matic or even XRP, right? Like all of these tokens, when we start to see them break out, everyone wants to buy more. That's why I always say, like, when we have market downtrends, when we are seeing, you know, buy opportunities in the market, or we're seeing tokens just going sideways, like for the most part, if you want to look at Casper on the zoomed out sideways view, like here you guys have Casper. I mean, that not much has changed since going all the way back to the summer of 2022. Like if we realistically look at this and we look at how high Casper is from that time back there, we are roughly at a gain of 65%, which is that nothing? No, but it's also not much compared to most other altcoins in this market since going back to the summer of 2022. So Casper has just been ranging. And also another great statistic to look at with Casper is how much supply is actually locked away. Almost 74% of this supply is staked away. Circulating supply sitting at about roughly 94.23%. The total supply about roughly 12 billion. And one thing that I will mention is, yeah, there is no max supply. There is an 8% year over year inflation rate. Now, as we look at that inflation rate, I've seen so many people bring that up, and you know that's the thing that stops them from investing into Casper. And I want you all to understand that at 8%, roughly, we have about 1 billion tokens being released per year. Okay, so let's take into accountability that it will take 8 years for this thing to get to 20 billion supply. Think about that. That's absolutely crazy, especially when you compare it to some of the top 10, top 15, top 20 tokens. Now, also with this, right, as we look at the supply and we look at the staking, you could earn about roughly 11% right now almost on Casper. As more supply gets unlocked or unstaked, if you will, this APY does increase, which for those that are looking at the long-term road ahead, this is very beneficial. But so much of the supply is already staked away. I do think that when Casper 2.0 launches, which does incentivize stakers even more, I think that that's going to really accommodate for a lot more supply being locked away in staking rewards. But also, remember, we have so much to look forward to. And when we compare it to other altcoins, shout out to Kevin Cage for this. This goes back to July 21st. We do see comparing Casper to all-time high market caps of other altcoins. ADA, 99 billion. Casper would be sitting at about roughly $8.80. This is a 247x from today's price. Today, I think it's a lot more. I think it might be well over 250x. I don't know if we go to $8.80, but it is still significant to mention. Solana and Dogecoin, 75 billion. Casper would be sitting at about roughly $6.70. Avalanche, 32 billion, $2.86. Litecoin, 27 billion, $2.41. Even $15 billion. Casper would be sitting at about roughly $1.34. And then HBAR, 7 billion. Casper would be sitting at about 62 cents. And again, like, this is why I say like 100,000 tokens, sitting under just $4,000. I mean, at 61 cents, that's still a very significant amount of money. So I do think that the future is very bright, especially when we look at the market caps of some of these other tokens, especially when you look at ADA, Dogecoin, and some of these other tokens supply as well versus Casper. And then also we have the IPW launch, right? Which this is still in progress. This hasn't changed much at all. 145 out of 25 million. This is something that I've been waiting on. I know that we just made a video recently on Casper talking about how 1 million of these will be soon minted on Casper, I think over the next month or two. And as we look at this, like, this is a huge use case for blockchain, obviously, which is revolutionizing the IP system. And remember, like, intangible assets represent 90% of the S&P 500's value. But patents, a large percentage of those intangibles are underutilized and undervalued, which is why we are looking at this use case as something very significant. And it's one of the largest enterprise deployments on, a network in the space ever. So this is huge. And remember, there's $7 to $10 billion tied to these patents, which will be minted soon. And we do see over here from the X Frontier, the number of patents minted was initially 25 million, but now I hear the number is more around 40 million. Porsche's IP portfolio is $23 billion almost, and is about 2.5 times larger than its market value at 8.86 billion. Not here to speculate or hype, just want to point out how massive blockchain will be for IP. Yes, it does. It unlocks a ton of trapped money because these companies, they want to utilize and monetize their IP portfolio, but they just can't right now. But welcoming Casper with IPW, and now they can. This is game changing, which is another thing why I look at Casper. But then you have the upgradable smart contracts as well. And when we look at enterprises and businesses utilizing, this type of technology, well, they don't want to constantly be, upgrading their smart contracts by minting more. No, they want to have that upgradability tied to it so that they don't need to do anything special when it demands it. They want to be able to just utilize these smart contracts in an upgradable fashion, which is why I say that Casper is truly built for the future of these businesses and enterprises. And then also, remember Actus, right? Going back to May, I quoted the X Frontier because this is talking about Actus contract types represent 98% of all financial market activity. And we do see from the CTO of Casper, there will be an entirely new class of financial products that can be built off of these. And I said, watching Casper slowly become the standard for the financial markets is incredible. I've been deep diving into Actus myself, and it's crazy how overlooked and undervalued Casper is. We are watching a new generation of finance being built before our eyes. And then also, right, as we look at Actus, recently, there was this post on the 17th, today. We're thinking about tokenization all wrong. This is from Blockworks. And within this, we do see if we don't standardize tokenization, we risk merely recreating the old system. So without standards, tokenization is going to be broken. And there's been a lot of predictions around this market, 5 trillion, 16 trillion. We don't know how much money is going to be behind tokenization, especially by 2030. I do think that things could really move pretty quickly once we start to see tokenization becoming heavily adopted in. And as we do see a few things down here, like this is the existing standards are critical to a tokenized future. The typical tokenized financial product today is essentially a digital representation of a document, a contract turned into a token. The true innovation, however, is in developing smart financial contracts, which signifies an interplay between a well-established standardization framework and blockchain technology. To start implementing open banking standards, which allow banks to share their data in a secure, standardized way, would make it easier to track liabilities and cash flow across different institutions. By applying these standards to smart financial contracts, we can ensure that details of the tokenized financial asset and all financial obligations are machine readable and executable. And this is all through Actus. If we scroll down, we can see here, the Actus standard is a grouping of open standards to represent financial contracts. Actus is already helping standardize tokenization for smart financial contracts. Banks, regulators, accountants, and tech firms can use the framework to analyze and report on financial stability and define terminology, algorithms, and data models used to describe cash flow patterns. This is a game changer, and it allows blockchain and DLT to be utilized within the financial world. This is improving regulatory reporting across all sectors and streamlines financial operations at the enterprise level. This is why I say, as you look at Casper, they're already preparing. They already have the standards in place. I do think that this is, one of those networks, one of those projects that just gets severely overlooked simply because of the nonsense tied to it, meaning the 8% year-over-year inflation and the no max supply. I want you guys to understand that the supply, that 8% year-over-year inflation, means nothing when you have mass institutional and enterprise grade adoption. And yes, we are gearing up for that. As we look at what's happening around Casper, and as we look at how much building has been happening on Casper lately as well, and how much noise that they've been making, I just don't see how in the future Casper isn't, a top 25 token at least. And we do know that, some of those top 25 tokens have hit, 7, 10, 15, 20, $25 billion in market cap. And like I said, do I need to remind you guys about how much Casper would be worth if it did hit those higher valuations? I do believe that $1 for Casper is going to be targeted. And I do believe that that is the first stage for Casper. After that, we really kind of look at some of those higher valuations and if they are possible to be hit, depending on how much, hype and substance there is tied back to Casper. Because remember, we're not in a utility-driven market just yet. When we are, that's when we could really look at some higher prices for Casper. But I really am just targeting $1 initially for Casper. And then from there, we really kind of look at some higher valuations. Because again, when we look at the market cap for Casper, when we look at the supply, I do think that this is one of those tokens that once it starts to really move, once it starts to really kind of, catch a little bit of traction, I think that there really isn't much stopping it. And I say this a lot with other tokens. I know that we kind of get stuck comparing these tokens to other tokens a lot, like ADA, for an example. But this is proof that once a project starts to move fast, there's nothing really stopping it. And when we are in a bull run, right, what we will see is we'll see these big spikes, sideways momentum, and then another spike, we'll have a sell-off, and then boom, the last major step. This is where you really want to be focused up, and you want to start, taking some profits when it's overbought, right? And it's crucial to understand the risk tied to some of these tokens when they are skyrocketing like this, because at the top here, when everyone's talking to you guys about, ADA this, ADA that, ADA to $10, that's when it's kind of a little bit more risky to hold. But I do believe that Casper could, repeat this major run that ADA did have. And if we do, hey, I welcome in a near almost $10 Casper if that is the case. But it all depends on how much money is really going to flow through this market. It all depends on how much, substance there is tied back to Casper. Like I said, I think that with how much supply is locked away, with Casper 2.0 brewing on the sidelines, with a lot of engagement within the community as well around Casper, with a lot of building happening and a lot of noise being made. I just don't see how Casper isn't at least in the top 25 going into the next bull run. And again, like that will demand roughly anywhere between $7 to $10 billion in valuation. And I do believe that it will most likely have even more gains tied to it, possibly within that 15 to $30 billion area in market cap, which is anywhere between $1 to almost $3 for Casper. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. As up to you all, have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this video. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.